Okay, I think we are live. Okay. Kondechi. I'm going to quickly write down that we are streaming right now, so give me a moment. So, Kondechi, here we are. There we are going to continue sketching our newest, our latest illustration of Nerissa. Okay. Hmm. Is it still having issues? Oh, well, that's off. Hmm. Oh well. VTuber and VTuber. Okay. Oh. Let's just do it. Can't stop believing. And yeah, alrighty, folks. Here we are. Line. Blah. Okay. 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 Surprisingly, I still didn't receive any information that my phone was packed. I have no idea why and what's going on exactly here, but you know, it's yeah, it's exactly that. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Let me check. Hi, Goobos. Glad to be here. How are you? How's it going? How we doing? Let me just turn on some music. This time I've learned on my past mistakes and I'm going to do this. Perfect. Okay, and here we are. This is the illustration we are going to draw. You know, you're just, I guess, well, most of the time I was just kind of, today I was kind of wondering most of the time if I even have strength to stream today, but I was like, come on, like I've already even like dropped the amount of hours I put into the streams, and I'm allowing myself to stream for only 1 hour just to be able to stream, you know, when I'm tired. I am like I really need to. And yeah, here we are. I guess today we are going to mostly focus on getting done with Mio. You know, I just want to finally get Miosha finished here. Hi Inky, got over here. How are you? Hope it has going. Please speak in English. That's yet another time I'm telling you, this is a rule of our channel to speak a goddamn English in the chat. Are you okay or not? I am okay. I am. Why don't I remember you asking if I'm okay or not? Why I am. Thank you. So yeah. Uh, I'm kind of trying to get done with this um, element. My GF4 today, she tension for me. He asked me, why are you ignoring me? Are you not messaging me? Why are you ignoring her? That's rude, and it's a behavior that leads to couples to break up. That's absolutely foolish of you to do that. Unless you're aiming to break up with her, then, you know. If you're going to keep ignoring her, she'll just think that you're done. I can't break up. Well, either, no matter if you can or cannot, she also can break up with me. Why you think so? Of course she can. She's a human being with a free will, and she can do whatever she wants. And if you are not going to respond to her, you can she can break up with you. You know? It doesn't matter what, she can still break up with you. My engagement feeling, bro. Well, engagement can be broken. Also, that's a dick move, and I feel if it's one of those arranged marriages, that's absolutely disgusting for me, because it's totally taking away someone's freedom. Nope. I cannot. I think that's obvious. I live in totally different country and I have work and many other things. Bro, like, first of all, I don't know you. I don't know you. You're just a random person from the internet from me. It's like a very, like, it's very difficult for me for like many of the things. I'm trying to be friendly with people, but just because I'm trying to be friendly with some people doesn't mean that we're immediately friends. You know? We're like, it's good to make friendships, but you in particularly haven't really showed any signs of pushing any kind of friendships. You just came in and you've started acting like we are buddies. We are not. I don't know you. We are hundreds of kilometers, if not thousands of kilometers away from each other. Chill out. Like, really, bro, chill out. It's a live stream. There are people coming here. All of us want to chill out, all of us want to just talk about random stuff, you know, and like, you know, things like that I feel like are only going to, you know, mess things up. So, I've the weirdest thing after me ordering that phone I've talked about, right, is that I didn't receive any information that my order was packed. And that's actually very bizarre and quite difficult to work it out, you know, because I have no idea at what stage my order is. I think I might need to check it out via through my web browser, because for some reason on my phone I can't access the site to see the you know, to see the package update status. And if tomorrow I'm not going to receive any information about pushing the delivery, I might actually need to call the support. Because, well, you know, it's a phone. Phones are not cheap, right? And I definitely need the freaking exchange. Like, my phone is dying, especially recently. Like, the battery is not holding up at all, even. So, like, I think I've got the phone, like, I've ordered the phone in the perfect timing. Or maybe it's just me noticing things right now, because, like, you know, I've ordered that phone, and, like, you know, I already know that things are going to be better. Like, the battery, at least for now, is going to, you know, last a bit longer. It's like very it's a very specific way of doing things, you know what I mean? I really like that sketching, but I need to get a better view on Mios' face. Give me a sec. I. So yeah. Also, yesterday I started watching, with my mom. I've started watching One Piece, the live action. Second season. We've watched the first one. Now we have the second season going on. Which came out. I can't wait. I want to see how they've made Brook. You know, considering that he's going to be a skeleton, so I'm assuming that he's going to be a voice-acted CGI, you know? I'm aware that they've got a... I'm aware that they've got an actor for him, so I'm assuming that they've just later on, you know, only in the flashbacks, when Brook is a human, in flashbacks he, like, he's going to play as himself, and outside of them they are going to use CGI, of course. Because that would be really stupid if they would be trying to, like, do it differently. Like, for example, making Brook still alive. Like, Brook, I think... Wait. If I'm not mistaken, Brook was over 100 years old at the point where we meet him. I think Brook was still mentioning. I think at some point Brook mentioned that even Gold Roger was still alive. And in One Piece, there's been years when Gold Roger was Goldie, actually. That's something that I think that's another thing that that's quite funny, because I feel like everyone was always calling him Gold Roger, Gold Roger, and even in dubbings it started to sound like Gold Roger, to the point where they've actually talked about this and made like a flashback where Gold Roger was like, everyone calls me like that, but it's not my name, it's Goldie. So his last name is not Gold, it's Gold D Roger. So that's, yeah. I assume if you're like writing it quickly and quackly, yeah. If you're writing it quickly and trying to say it quickly, it just automatically jumps into gold instead of Goldie. Yeah, you know, that's that. We're just kind of chilling today. I'm really low energy after work, you know. All right. I have to admit, I really like this. How's it called? I really like those lines here. I think it's because like I'm making them, you know. Oh my. What? Well, I guess we are back to speaking languages that are not English, so I have to warn you, Rinky, that which means this is your first warning. There's still one more that is left for you, and after the second one, if you are going to repeat breaking the rules of the chat, I'm going to ban you. So please stay up with the goddamn rules that we are making, okay? Like, I understand if we would be talking about this, but like, it's just coming out randomly, so please. Just some coherence in the chat. For Christ's sake. How you been? Hi Mika, glad to have you here. How are you? How's it going? I've been good. Just chilling. Still waiting for that new phone. I'm kind of worried that the store I've bought it from may be having some issues. I am not receiving any information about the like order preparations or anything like that, so that's weird. Usually they do, but they said like, oh, it's going to be shipped between 1 to 2 business days. I've ordered it on Monday. Today is the first day, and tomorrow is the second day. And if, by the end of the day, I'm not going to receive any, email that they've sent it, I guess I'll have to like, talk with this support, I guess. It's a bummer. It's not even like any shady store. It's like very huge store, electric store in, well, electronics store in Poland. Quite huge, and I think international too. So, what else? I've got Huion Life, that game. I want to play it. I'm actually watching Huion Life 2 playthrough. So I made like an entire 9-hour-long video of Huion Life 2 playthrough. I want to watch second one. I'm gonna start the first one. I guess on the channel too, just so I could have something to juggle with the games. Sometimes I'm going to have urge to play something else than just, oh, it goes well, yeah. Hope so too. And yeah, I'm just I'm actually wondering if I want to stream Huion Life, because that game is it's very specific. I believe it requires some censorship, unless that's actually an option for people to turn on in the settings, because like, yeah, that game is not for kids, definitely. Well, for kids, for younger audience. But I kind of want to play it. And yeah, I'm just kind of wondering. That would be fun. Yeah, I found your channel at the worst time, man. My CLZ is now in morning and can only come for a while. Oh, it's okay, man. It's okay. I tell you what, on Saturday we're usually playing around 2 p.m. Central European time. We're usually playing some games on the other channel or just doing some miscellaneous stuff. It changes, and I think I want to do a bit more streams on Saturday. Just to allow myself to do some fun stuff, some miscellaneous things. I've just been playing Silksong and some gacha games. Ooh. I haven't really finished in full Hollow Knight. Unfortunately, I can't really stream it because of the bitrate dying for some reason. And I figured it out because like, oh yeah, there's something going on seriously with the thing. And like, yeah, it was just the bitrate dying, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess I won't be like, I can record it, by the way. I can record Hollow Knight. I can't stream it, like, for the bitrate's sake, which is pretty bad because I'm mostly streaming, so that's that. And about gacha games, I do want to get into some gacha games on streams. I want to play Zenless Zone Zero, but for that I need to set up a separate account, which is going to be like, an account for streams. Because of course they're showing your email at the very top of the screen, which I can just wait through, but you know what I mean. I also want to, I've already played the game a little bit on my usual account, but I don't really remember a lot of stuff, and my gameplay thing is that I'm usually, when I'm playing in person, Oh yeah, that's kind of annoying. Yeah. So whenever so whenever you want to like stream the game, you can't because of that. And basically my usual gameplay when I'm not streaming is actually skipping all the cutscenes and dialogues. Like literally I'm spamming the buttons to skip everything, you know what I mean? So for the streaming sake and just to learn ZZZ lore and story, I guess I would sit down and play a little. But god, I've tried also with ZZZ because I've heard like, hey, the story is really good and the dialogues are really funny. I was like, okay, let's give it a try. But I've literally got flashbacks from times when I was trying to play .hack.gu, watching all cutscenes and reading all dialogues. I've spent literally 3 hours reading through the forum right after the first closing of the quote-unquote game. I mostly skip most of the non-voice dialogue. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Kind of same. I can't really. For me, here's my logic. If there's no voiceover, that means the dialogue is not important. Because they've used way less budget on those. Because all the voice lines need to pay the voice actors. So for me that's the shtick. If there's no voiceovers, that means it's not important dialogue. Although in Yakuza, that actually got me good, because Yakuza is giving you a lot of things with non-voiced dialogues, basically. Like what you need to do in a mission and such. When I was trying to play Yakuza on streams, we've got, So yeah. Well, I really want to. Yakuza is like a game with ADHD. Yes, well, it's actually a parody. The entire Yakuza series is actually a parody. So the normal Yakuza that we have as the series is actually a parody of and satire of action RPG games. There's also Yakuza Like a Dragon sub-series, which is a JRPG parody satire. And there's a Injustice, I think, or Justice and then Injustice or something like that, where we are playing detective. I think it's yet again a parody it's yet again parody of action RPG, but like kind of like Persona-like kind of things, if that makes sense. Or actually that's a wrong thing. Like with detectivistic elements, there was a bunch of those. Because you're just playing a detective that kicks ass or something like this. So yeah, that's the shtick. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So, because like you know how in RPGs you get ADHD with all the side missions, min-maxing and such, this is literally Yakuza. Because you can also like min-max by trying to farm as much cash as possible, upgrading yourself, and actually more or less in the half of the game you can buy out the entire CD first and foremost, because you can get down with all the with all 4 kings, quote unquote, and you can actually play on the cat fight. And to be fair, if you know how to do it right, you can actually farm out a lot of cash. And trust me, the shtick is that you don't want to go over 1 million yen in cat fight. You want to always take one of the 2 characters that are very powerful. Where yes, it is the slowest element, but as a matter of fact, you can actually pick up like 2 times of what you're betting, and I think the more you're giving, the higher percentile there is too. And I think on 1 million yen you still get a lot of stuff. What's up, Rinky? Why are you saying oh my? So yeah, that's, you know, the thing about Yakuza, it's like good to be in. Oh my. And yeah, the Yakuza, I really like Yakuza series, by the way. I really like this series of games. What I kind of you know, what I kind of don't really like is actually this one element. Basically, they could introduce you, for example, into buying out places a little bit easier, and they could give you, for example, a bit different ways to earn the cash. Of course, you can just sit down, set the timer, and just, you know, come back to the game every couple minutes. Meanwhile, you are like, I don't know, watching a video or something and letting the game run. And before you notice, you can max out the game, I guess, in one evening. Also, the place where you are, where that base for the stuff is, you actually get the how to say this, you actually get the place where usually one of the you know, one of those huge guys, Mr. Shakedowns, one of the Mr. Shakedowns sleeping, so you can allow him to beat you up and take the cash and just chill around, wait for him to be found there sleeping, and basically just capture up, you know, money with the profit. I've read that this is the fastest way to get cash in Yakuza, but like, you know, when did I started talking about like farming money in Yakuza? I don't know. But yeah, I first got introduced with Yakuza from a meme. When you skip dialogue, there was a serious talk, then suddenly a street dance. Yeah. Yeah, I know this one. Yeah. Money is key. True. Yeah, that's the entire Yakuza game, you know? If you can somehow farm out money, you can actually get anything, buy out every single skill, and knowing how to farm it out is really important. And that's something I don't really like with the game, because at some point it turns into such a farm fest. Like, and to be fair, me personally, I don't really have time to just sit down and have that, you know, technique to just watch something in the background while having the game running. You know, because like I'm drawing off stream too, you know, I've got a bunch of stuff to draw, commissions and so on, so I can't do that because I can out-click from Yakuza's window, if that makes sense. Well, I will out-click from Yakuza's window, and that means I'm not going to get the timer going, you know what I mean? Which sucks. Unless there's like a method where that can work. I've read that people are somehow doing this, that they can, like, you know, out-click from the window and keep it like that. I think there's some kind of trickery to that, or I don't know. But yeah. Yeah, I would just put mod that keep on farming if it's long farming. Yeah, that's that, you know. You know, there's also a thing where you can just sit down. For example, I could sit down, turn on a stream, and just do a just talking stream while having Yakuza running in the background as we are just collecting the money. You know what I mean? That's kind of that. That's the entire shtick, you know? I did a texture today for that low poly model. Don't know if it will work. Will learn UV, Tom, no. Actually, I really want to make a game that's going to use 3D, but like in like a very specific way. So for example, there's a game called Fantasy Life. And basically, I want to take that Fantasy Life idea and, for example, make kind of a game with characters like this, but low poly and with, well, highly low poly, and the pixel art textures. There's a software for this that allows you to make like pixel art, very low poly characters. I mean very low poly. Well, it's the same. It's the same software that is used to make Minecraft data packs, usually. You know, literally the same one. And I'm thinking about using it and making a low poly characters like this for the game, and just making 3D game like that. I feel like it's going to be actually really cool idea, first of all. And second of all, I think it's going to also help me with a lot of stuff. But I also feel like pixel art itself has way more soul and ways to show things than the full 3D space. That I don't know. I don't know, you know? I'm just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of can be bothered. I have a friend that say, just make your own program if I say I need a program for, to draw or anything. What? It really does take a lot of time and can be messy, yeah. Why would your friend just tell you to make your own program? It's not really that simple to make a software. Like, usually programs are getting developed over years. But for example, for drawing, I recommend Clip Studio Paint. I'm using it right now. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, and basically there's also a lot of stuff you can use. For animating, I recommend OpenTunes. It's the same software that Studio Ghibli is using. Yes, that's Studio Ghibli from, you know, from Japan, from like huge movies. This is they are using literally the same one. It also allows you for many things, and it's free. It's open source, which means you can also make your own plugin if you need something. And I'd assume that I can, for example, make, or I guess there's already a plugin. He just jokes around a lot, and I'm study computer. I see. That makes a lot of sense, you know. Oh, did not know that. Yeah. So basically that's open source, and you can use the OpenTunes for, you know, for the thing, for animating. So no need to like spend money on any animating softwares. Clip Studio Paint is also allowing you for animations, but without buying out EX version, which is way more expensive. You're actually kind of locked with things with 60 frames a second, but you can still draw things like webtoons or just, you know, mangas and such. But I guess you're not going to have your, you know, setup. You'll need to make your own setup for that, you know, instead of using the presets that Clip Studio Paint EX comes with for comic book making. Because version Pro is only for illustrations, I see. You know? I think. So that's kind of a bummer, but you know. It's a quality software. Does not have much options for timing. Yeah. OpenTunes, on the other hand, actually gives you a lot of options. It's a software made and designed for animators. I believe it can also use the bone models, so like spine models and such. You know, well, I hope so, at least, because, you know, they were saying that it can, at least, you know, when I was last time checking out this software. So I have no idea. I hope it does. Because if yes, then I can actually, you know, I'll be able to make some characters and make animations with them. I really need to also make a bit more. Oh, those sounds, that sounds really nice. Yeah, exactly, you know, it's like, so for example, spine, well, I think it also allows you to rig your own model inside, if that makes sense. And yeah, for example, when, let's say, when, not right now, when animators have to make the same, like draw the same character several times over span of thousands of frames, that's a rather waste of time. So they are making models with like bone structure that you can just use for animation, and they're animating it with that. It's just very dependent, right? Because like you can't really achieve everything, But I believe at the end of anime there are already so many different things that, you know, my computer is crashing when doing animation. It already 2 gigabytes and I'm still at line work. Damn. Damn. How long is your animation? Are you working on it scene by scene, or are you trying to animate everything in one thing? Because you actually want to animate by scene. I gotta check, I forgot. Because, you know, you want to animate scene by scene, so like don't like throw in the entire animation inside one file, because it's just going to be, you know, very memory costing, you know what I mean? It's just going to be way too huge in general. But it's all in one, not long. And you're counting how many frames a second? Like 24, right? Because that's like usual standard. It's not too much, it's maybe about 15 to 20 seconds. Yes, but like if you're counting 24 frames a second, then it's like... like 480 on most when it comes to that. So imagine now you're kind of having like 480 different layers in your software, because they're working like a layer. For animations, unfortunately, math comes into play, because there's like a lot of things going on, like, you know, even some physics too, like gravity and shit. That's why animations are ruining people. Artists that are going into animations, you know, as a job, they are getting ruined. Why? Drawing illustrations like what I'm doing, you see how long it takes. For animations, there's like a way bigger process. Backgrounds are done separately. There's a scenario that must be done. There are thumbnails that must be done. Everything needs to be presented and shown. Then you have to like make planned out motion. Then you need to make keyframes. Then between the thumbnail frames. And then you need to make in-betweens, then you have to make the corrections on it, then you have to make the proper characters, like sketch out the entire thing, correct the animation once again, you know, and basically going into stuff like colors, shading, then special effects, you know. That's why, for example, first of all, that's why studios are split between different teams. So you have couple teams, each one of them has like a manager, and so you have like animating director. The director is working with scenario writers and making the thumbnails. The thumbnails are given to the managers. Managers are then prepping the keyframes. The keyframes are then given to in-betweeners. In-betweeners are finishing the most of the illustration as a form of a sketch. Then everything goes to then the entire team gets rebranded. It actually goes to people that are like making outlines. So outlines are going to people that are making colors. Yeah, even mine just finishing animation of outline or color took me more than a week. Yeah, that's why it's so difficult to make animation. There's just way too much, and usually on animations there are several teams working for real. So I really admire people who are getting into animations on their own, and they are making animations alone, you know. That's actually a huge thing happening with it. And yeah, it's when you're just throwing in so many of those, you're like, you know, so many frames in one thing, you're just kind of, you know, obliterating your PC. Even simple animations take a lot of effort and time. Yeah, and actually there's way more theory to learn for animations. Like, for example, in character design, you need to learn the shape theory, the color theory, and then like, you know, ideations, yada yada. But like mostly the general theory is just how to draw in general. So like, you know, your basics like simple shapes, construction and such. And then you are kind of forced to work out, you know, a bit more on that note. When you are getting into animations, like, as I've said, like the entire pipeline, right? Like sketching, thumbnailing, keyframes, in-betweens, like all of that are literally the freaking like animators lingo, for example, right? I mean, not lingo, but like those are the basics, right? And then you have smoothing, like smoothing of the motion, like easing in, easing out, sharp movement, squeeze and stretch, momentum, pendulum, gravity. Like there's crap load of things where you even have to like count frames. You have to like use math for animations to like calculate in like, oh, so if the character is like, even most basic principles, there are 12 of them, and gotta make them smooth. Yes, exactly. And like, you know, some of the things are like literally to the like crazy, to the point where I've seen animators like calculating like, oh, okay, so that character is like going with like made that push, there's this gravity in the world, so basically they would be in at that point that fast, for example, or something like that. Or like, you know, they have to see what some of them are looking in, like what are the walls weak points, so how the wall would break, right? Because it's not like they are making like a breaking of the wall and they are going to reuse it. No, you know, that's like very problematic to go through. And I have to say, back in the days, I feel like animations were more difficult and yet easier, because back in the days you had plastic sheets and you had to hand paint everything. The thing about it, why I think it was easier, was that back then they could allow themselves to reuse frames by a lot. Right now they still do, kinda, but actually there's so much more effects placed on the characters that's almost impossible to reuse the same frames without making any edits. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you look at the One Piece, like the moment where Zoro is like preparing to some stuff and such, or like when characters are talking, like there's so many like repetitions in frames, like the characters like frames are literally like reused. That's something you can't do in digital era, because in digital era, well, I guess you can, but then you are dropping the quality of the animation to, well, not sure if that's a bad thing, like it's difficult to explain. But like right now there are like so many different standards about like making all those like different things happening and going on, that it's actually, I have to say, more difficult for animators to reuse the frames. At some point it feels like they're going to be ashamed of it, you know, like they're going to be shunned for reusing the frames. I think this is using is almost only a few frames at most. Either it needs to be static and only some parts. Yes. See, but that's the thing. Back in the days, they were reusing the entire sheets. They were using the entire scenes that they had. Because they could, because there were not that many different things. Right now, I can copy, for example, a character a bunch of times, like make it stand, and just, you know, erase its arm and just, you know, move the arm differently, and sure, it's going to work. But, like, taking, for example, the entire, like, seeing how Zoro is, like, for example, like, diving with some, like, you know, one of his moves, like Onigiri, for example. Back in the days, Onigiri was reused a couple times in full, but now each one of them you can see that they are different, and there are more and more different effects placed on them, which makes it literally even more difficult to reuse the frames. You know what I mean? So like, that's why it's, you know, that's why it's so problematic with it. Because sure, like reusing animations is easier for animators, but also it's like nowadays you can't really do that because like you're just using so many different effects that it's making reusing the animations so difficult. What I'm thinking of doing, I want to try and check if there's a chance to create a full puppet which is going to rotate 360 degrees around, and for which you can like change the dynamics and perspective and such, and basically like move it around. I doubt it's going to be possible. There's just so much effects on those, like the lights, shading. Yeah, exactly. And back in the days you didn't have really that many shadows. If you look at it, you don't really have half shadows. Like, for example, first episodes of One Piece had only the characters to have like just fully darker colors and like black splotches where the shadows were. That's that. That's as far as it goes. And right now, it's no. Like, no. It's not a thing. You know what I mean? They're simply not going to reuse the... They're simply not going to reuse the frames. Heck, I don't think I would be reusing frames, you know what I mean? So that's like, you know, even more problematic for me. Because like I want to get back to animating because I used to animate a lot. Because I think that it's a really cool thing and it would be nice to have some animations for myself, at least, you know, at least something for streams. Like for example, Davis like sitting somewhere and just hanging out, drinking coffee or something like that. That would be already enough for me. Like having like just starting soon screen or something like that for streams. I don't have those really, so yeah. I think that might be possible, but right now it's gonna look like Blender body tracking. Yeah. Yeah. But like, you know, that's the thing. Like, I want to just make the character. I want to first of all check if I can make like a couple different things. Well, how much I can push the models in. Like, imagine making a bone for in spine for a model in spine that's manipulating the shadow. So for example, you have a character with a shadow and the shading is changing based on where the thing is rotating. That would be cool, right? And like imagine for example making like you know, like those, and just making that for mostly for like close-ups and such. But you know what's going to be standing in the way? The sheer amount of the freaking work that will have to go into this shit. I guess if we're talking about like typical anime with cell shading, because like later on we are going to, of course, let's say add the special effects to that. I'm raising some frames, but even I don't like using that, but otherwise it's gonna take a lot of time. Only my third try to, yeah, it will be really cool. Yeah, you know? But I really want to like check how far I can be taken by spine. I've seen people even making like item generators, I guess, where they were like, for example, making some bases of the, let's say like bases of like bottles of potions, and twisting couple bones was causing them to like deform, round out more, lengthen, shorten, and such, so they didn't have to redo the thing, and they could just, you know, just change the hue of the liquid inside because it was also a separate thing. That's a clever thing, because here's the thing: if you're going to reuse your thing, like the style, right? Why not? Like, sure, in the first game you've made only red and blue potion, but why not making more potions later on, you know, like orange, purple, and others? Yay, that's a smart way. Yeah, it is really a smart way. Just changing the length makes a lot of difference. Yeah. You know, that's why I kind of want to, you know, try things out for myself. You know, that's a thing. I have to go to sleep now. Gotta wake up at 5 a.m. It's already about 1 a.m. So good night. Have a nice day. Bye bye. Bye bye, Mika. Bye bye. Thank you for coming. I guess I'm just going to finish a couple more lines and I'll be good to go. So you can just call me Ren. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Well, good night, Ren. Take care. Yeah, I need to kind of, you know, draw her feet right now. Hi Jesse, good to have you here. How are you? Hope it has going. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. How have you been? Hi. Haven't seen in a while, actually. One, two, three, four, five. Yeah. Well, actually, the beans should be like smaller as they go. I've been good. How has been well for you? Yeah, you know, ups and downs. Hate my job right now. I just don't like working logistics, but it's like a place, you know, where I've already found, where I've got already a lot of experience, so like those are the jobs I'm kind of stuck with, so that's no bueno, but I guess I can just, you know, I'm managing somehow to just fool around, hide a lot of stuff, you know. Like for example, me not really working. But yeah. Slowly things are looking better. And yeah, the thing is going on. Yeah. We're actually finishing Mio. Yeah. So that's I don't know. Wait. Like this maybe? Yeah, I guess that's more like beta. So just, you know, drawing the new illustration. Just, you know, gonna make at least some progress. Oh my, oh my. Yeah, Mio had her socks stolen by Nerissa, and basically that's the idea for the illustration we are doing right now. And yeah, I guess after this, after making sure that it's looking good, you know, and full, yeah, I can say that we might be wrapping up. Okay. And over here, she actually has a split on the thing. This should go like this. And this should go like this. And yeah, we're just chilling. Although I feel like I'm starting to get more and more tired, I guess. You know? So that's why I think today we might wrap up faster. But I'm thinking that tomorrow we might try to make a bit longer stream, we'll see. Let's see how I'm going to feel after work, you know what I mean? Yeah. And yeah, she doesn't have socks, so I'm not going to draw those elements. So, and since she had her socks pulled off, she's not going to wear shoes. That's a logical thing. She has this. Yeah, I think we've got everything. Yeah. So, folks, I guess this is going to be it. You know, I guess we are just going to wrap up a little bit, and yeah, you know, just chill, relax. I want to say, you know, thank you all for being active in chat. Meanwhile, as always, stay creative and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.